everybody! Today we're going to be covering the language of poetry, and you can just go ahead and ignore that Unit 4 up there. I just saw that, and this, of course, is not Unit 4. This is Unit 6, so go ahead and ignore that. I don't know what craziness is going on with my PowerPoint slides today. Today we are going to go over the language of poetry, or more specifically, figurative language, and how it's used in poetry and why it's used in poetry. Now, I promise you this is going to be a short video. I know you don't believe me anymore, but I promise you this one short. Because we're only doing a few pieces of figurative language today, and we're going to spread them out over a few videos. So first let's start with what's your favorite song? Think about it. What's your favorite song? Mine, if you must know, is Cruise by Florida Georgia Line. Love this song. And something about music that I want to point out to you is that music actually uses a lot of figurative language. Now, we've already talked about how music is like poetry because we talked about rhythm and meter. But we're going to, poetry, much like your favorite songs, uses words that appeal to the senses and words that make comparisons or figurative language. So in Cruise by Florida Georgia Line, for example, one of my favorite lines is he says, "When that summer sun fell to its knees." Think about that. Isn't that a really cool way to say that dusk was coming in? The summer sun fell to its knees. The sun is setting. So really cool way to say that. And that's what figurative language is all about. It's just that creative, really cool way to say something instead of just saying it. Poets love that type of stuff, by the way. So, you say to me, poetry is poetry. It's not music, Smitty, right? We could have this argument all day long, and I'd be like, let's sort out our disagreement, which we're going to do right now. Songs are a lot like poems. How? Songs have a beat and a rhythm, just like a poem. Been there, done that. You know that it has a beat and a rhythm. You know all about trochees and anapaests, and you know all about feet. In poetry, no, not little feet you run around on, but that beat, that group of beats, dum, 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 dum. We've already learned all that, so been there, done that. You know that it's like a song because it has beat and rhythm. Can't argue with me there. Songs use figurative language just like a poem, and you're going to see that today, so I'm going to prove that to you today as well. And then Thursday, we're going to see how songs convey a meaning, just like your favorite poem. Okay, so these are used interchangeably. Very, very similar things. We're going to get to that later, but for right now, I just got one thing to say to you about poetry and music. See, I told you. All right, let's keep moving forward here and talk about the difference between figurative and literal language. Very, very simple stuff here. When you see this, you're going to say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Literal language is when you mean exactly what you say. Okay, I'm going to the store. I'm really going to the store. All right, that's not made up. That's literal. I'm going to the store. Well, figurative language, on the other hand, uses similes, metaphors, hyperbole, and personification, and other things as well, like onomatopoeia, to describe something often through comparison with something different. So that's what figurative language is. It's those metaphors, similes, hyperboles, onomatopoeia, personification, imagery that makes a comparison stand out so that you can understand what the poet is saying a little bit better. Let's take a look at this. A literal description of something would be grass is green. Whatever, grass is green. But if you want it to be poetic, fancier, you would say the grass looks like it has spiky green hair. That's a simile. It's a figurative description. Now I can picture spiky green hair and I can picture green grass. Sand feels rough. Okay, got it. Sand is solid water. That's a metaphor. Okay, now, I don't really like that metaphor. I don't think I would say sand is solid water, but you could extend that. You could keep going with it. It pours over the bank of a rock or whatever you want to do. It's a metaphor. It's making a comparison by giving one thing the traits of another thing. Even though it may not make sense at first, you can make it work. Grasshoppers make a high-pitched noise with their legs. Yeah, we know that. Grasshoppers are fiddlers who play their legs. That is personification. A grasshopper can't play the fiddle. Okay, it just seems like he might be doing that. So it's a comparison. Poetry is a playful kitten that coils and purrs, begging for you to pet her. What is that? Do you know? Poetry is a playful kitten that coils and purrs. Poetry coils and purrs, begging for you to pet her. What is that? Well, I would say it's a little bit of personification, but we're going to use it as a metaphor right now. And a metaphor is a type of language that doesn't make sense literally. So the point-by-point comparison or connection needs to be made clear as the metaphor continues or is examined. So you could start out off with something like, you are a couch potato. What does that mean? Well, you keep going with it. You just sit there, do nothing, like a potato in a bin. I don't know. Just say it, man. You are a couch potato. Metaphor, he has a heart of stone. Just say it, man. Not his heart is solid like a stone. No, just say it. He has a heart of stone. That's a metaphor. When you actually give one thing the qualities of another one and then show that comparison as you go. Let's take a closer look at the poems that have this. And we're going to begin with, I am one of many small branches of a broken tree, always looking to the ones above for guidance, strength, and security. So this person is saying they are an actual small branch of a broken tree. Can you see that comparison? Be a branch, man. Be a branch of a broken tree. For one little branch trying to keep the others from breaking away. Who will fall and who will stay? Now I stand alone looking at the earth through the rain. This person is being a tree. Do you see the comparison between a tree with broken branches and a person with a broken family? Looking at the earth through the rain, and I see the broken branches I knew scattered about me in pain. There are those who have taken an axe to the root of our very foundation and who have passed this destruction down to every new generation. Imagine that, a person being compared to something that takes an axe to the root of a tree. What happens when you damage the root of a tree? You damage the whole tree. That's how destructive people can be in your life. So just like you can damage a tree's roots, you can damage a family right to the core. Okay, so you see how they made this person be a tree. These branches, these broken branches are broken people. Okay, and the roots that are supposed to keep this family solid can be damaged. They can be hit with an axe, just like you can just do terrible things to this family to knock them down. Okay, our next example. I was angry with my friend, I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe, I told it not, my wrath did grow. So when you keep anger inside of you, it grows, it festers. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears, and I sunned it with my smiles and with soft deceitful wiles. So he's taking this fear and actually treating it like a flower, right? He's watering it with his fears, right? Sunned it with smiles. So he pretended that it actually wasn't bothering him, but he was. And what happens when you do that? You actually allow something to grow. So he compared this anger to a plant that he was actually nurturing. That's a metaphor, guys and gals. Poetry is playful like a kitten that coils and purrs. This is a little bit different here. We see that word like. Do y'all know what that means? The word like or the word as means we're doing a simile. So we're still comparing two things, but you're just saying brave as a lion. They fought like cats and dogs. So now you're making a comparison, but you're actually using the words like or as. Let's take a look at what that looks like in a poem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Can you picture that? That's imagery. Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet. Like a syrupy sweet. Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? You see all your similes in there. And it helps us if you say, well, what did it stink like? Rotten meat? Ooh, I know what that smells like. And it makes you it makes it easier for you to relate to this comparison. Poised between going on and back, pulled both ways like a tight rope walker, fingertips pointing the opposites, now bouncing tiptoe like a drop ball or a kid skipping rope. Come on, running and scattering of steps sidewise, how he teeters, skitters, tingles, teases, taunts them, hovers like an ecstatic bird. Do you see the likes and as going on here? Like a tightrope walker, do you see that? Like a drop ball? That's helping you to make that connection to say, well, what do you mean he's bouncing tiptoe? What does that mean? Oh, like a drop ball. So you see a drop ball, it kind of bounces back and forth. So it just helps you to picture things in your mind. And that's a simile. The cold, sweet chocolate cream tickled my taste buds as I sat watching the cotton candy clouds dance across the crystal blue sky. Can chocolate cream tickle your taste buds? I don't think chocolate cream can tickle. And can clouds dance? No, they can appear to do that, but they don't dance. This is called personification. Personification gives human characteristics to inanimate objects, animals, or ideas. Inanimate objects, animals, or ideas cannot do these things. It's just a fancy way of saying what it looks like they're doing or feels like it's doing. Opportunity knocked at the door. No. Opportunity cannot knock at a door. It has no knuckles, and it cannot walk up to a door. It's personification. The night sky was full of dancing stars. Stars can move across the sky and appear to be dancing. Are they dancing? No. And neither does a flower dance in the wind. It's just we say it's dancing because it looks like it's dancing, but it cannot actually dance. The teapot sang as the water boiled. No, it didn't sing. It just sounded like a song. The ice cubes cackled in their glass. The teacups chattered to one another when they hit each other. They sound like they're chattering. It's a chatter. While the chairs were passing gas. When you move a chair and it makes that noise on the floor, okay, the chair did not actually pass gas, I promise you. The gravy gurgled merrily as the oil danced in a pan. Oh, my dinner time chorus, what a lovely, lovely clan. None of those things can do those things. Only humans can sing. Only humans can chatter. Do you understand? But we give these qualities to characteristics to different inanimate objects and maybe stuffed animals. Oh, my bear has a boo-boo. Little kids do it all the time. No, your bear doesn't have a boo-boo. Okay? That is reserved for humans. The leaves on the ground danced in the wind. There you go. Leaves don't dance, but they sure do look like it, right? The brook sang merrily as it went on its way, and brooks don't sing. Okay? It's just a very fancy way of describing whatever you're seeing or hearing in a poem. So, what do we get from this stuff? Why do we care? Well, figurative language can set a mood. Think about it. The fancier you describe something and with more happy figurative language, you get a happy mood. What if you're using figurative language that is a downer? Now you're setting a down mood. So we have to pay attention to figurative language when it comes to mood. Figurative language is a great way to describe a setting or character, like I just said. A character, if you describe that character compared to someone that is really familiar to your readers, they can instantly make a connection. And finally, figurative language can lead you to the theme of a poem, and that's something that we're going to cover on Thursday, actually. How do we figure out the theme of a poem? By looking closely at the figurative language that's used in it. So, figurative language is a big deal in poetry. I need you to learn this stuff. So what you're going to do right now, of course, is you are going to get quizzical for me. Time to go and take your figurative language quiz 1 and do your best on it so that we can guide your learning. Go do it. Go away. Shoot. I'll see you all in class.